Hello everybody, welcome along to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster. I'm looking forward now to Saturday the 2nd of September, where there's plenty of racing across Britain and Ireland. It has to be said it's not one of the better Saturdays as far as quality and, in my view, betting opportunities are concerned, but I do have one free selection for you, and I'll give you that in just 1 or 2 moments. First of all, if you happen to be joining us for the first time, do press the subscribe key just below this screen, because you'll be able then to be kept in touch with all my free selections on this service. If you're looking for more selections, then of course you may be interested to join my subscription service Out in Front on the Patreon platform, and you can find a link for that particular service just below this screen in the description. And we're showing a profit as we move into the final month of the first year Out in Front. We've got our nose more than a little ahead, and I'm hoping we're going to continue to build on the wins that we've had so far. Now, I've got the one selection for you for Saturday. Just a very quick word about the Yorkhill meeting, which were the last bets we had for August. We ended the month £58 up. Our level £10 each way stakes, which is far better than being £58 down, of course. There were 4 selections over the 4 days. We started off with a bang, of course, with Equilateral winning at 12 to 1. So that meant we were certain to show a profit. Master Richard didn't run his race on day 2, but Prenup ran very well on day 3 at 20 to 1, finishing 3rd. So another profit there on that one. And Ocean Wind never really managed to run as well as I'd hoped in the Ebor on the Saturday. So overall it was £134 profit at the York Ebor meeting, and that brought us into profit for the month as a whole, because we had a pretty tough time of things in the mud bath that was Glorious Goodwood. So things moving in the right direction, and I'm hoping we're going to continue to move on an upward curve with my selection on Saturday at Sandown in the 225 race. This is the Group 3 Atalanta Stakes. They're forecasting the ground to be good to firm, good in places, and there are 10 runners. Now, there's no obvious standout performer in this competitive Group 3 contest, and that's reflected by the fact that last time I looked, they were betting 7 to 2 the field. Sir Michael Stout has won 3 of the last 10 renewals of this race, including last year where he sprung a surprise with the 18 to 1 shot Potapova, and she's back to try her luck again. She hasn't been in great form this year, and indeed Michael Stout's horses since the middle of summer have run into a bit of a lull. We did have a winner not too many days ago. On balance, I think it's probably worth looking elsewhere, and I'll be surprised if Potapova is good enough. Now, John and Thady Gosden have had a very good time of things through August. They had a great time of things in particular at York, and they're represented here by the current favourite Coppice in the Juddmonte colours, and also by Queen for You. Coppice appears to have good credentials. She's been really progressive through the first half of the term, and that culminated in a victory at Royal Ascot in the Sandringham handicap off a mark of 97. And she certainly wasn't disgraced when she took a really big step up in class last time in the Group 1 Falmouth Stakes at Newmarket, where she finished 5th behind her talented stable companion Nashwa. Now, this step back to Group 3 company makes sense. It should suit her. I think she should be there or thereabouts if she's in similar form to her last 2 starts. Queen for You, well, she failed very narrowly to follow her debut win with a listed success at York in the spring over a mile, and then after finishing a creditable 5th in the Group 1 Coronation Stakes, no less, at Royal Ascot, she probably didn't stay the 10 furlongs last time out. So I think there's better expected from her. And to be honest, I don't think there's a lot between the 2 Gosden fillies. And then you've got Richard Hannon's Heredia, who won last year's Sandringham handicap over a mile. Been a bit surprising that it's taken until her later start for her to run back at this trip. She stepped up from 7 furlongs, and the return to the mile did the trick when she won well at Haydock last month in the listed Dick Hearn Stakes, remembering one of the great trainers of the second half of the 20th century, of course. Purple Pay was in that race at Haydock, reopposes here, but was well held. I think Heredia's got a sound chance, and if by any chance there are some flash thunderstorms and the ground eases, then that would enhance the prospects of the Archie Watson-trained Roman Mist, who likes to really get her toe in, as she did when she won a listed race at Goodwood in May. She was only narrowly beaten in a Group 3 last time out, but if it is on the far side of good, I think that will compromise the chance of Roman Mist. And so on to my selection for you. Free selection here at Sportsbet for Saturday. And in what I think could be a very tightly knit race, my narrow preference is for the Richard Fahey-trained Midnight Mile, who was a really talented juvenile last season, and I think she's trained on well. And last season, she won the Group 3 Oh So Sharp Stakes at Newmarket in the autumn, having made a winning debut in midsummer at Doncaster. And then, after winning at HQ, the No Nay Never filly went off to the Breeders' Cup, the juvenile fillies turf. She ran a blinder to be forced to Aidan O'Brien's Meditate. That was despite starting slowly, which on a tight track was always going to be a real tough to overcome. And the other thing was it was on really rattling ground, so she did very well to pick up and come through for fourth. Now, this season, she stepped up to the extended 10 furlongs on her reappearance, and she ran a very sound race indeed to be forced to the subsequent Oaks winner, Soul Sister, in the Musidora Stakes at York in May. But then she patently failed to stay when she ran in the Oaks, in the Ribblesdale Stakes, I should say, Group 2 at Royal Ascot. She just didn't get home, and she was not far off them, 2 furlongs out, and then she kind of fell in a hole after that. So she dropped back to 10 furlongs at York the time after Royal Ascot, and she won. She got back to winning form. She beat Mukadama by 2.5 lengths in the listed Lyric Fillies Stakes at York. But the funny thing was, she actually looked last time as if the 10 was stretching her far enough when she was third at this level in the Group 3 Rose of Lancaster Stakes at Haydock. So I was quite happy to see her being dropped back here to a stiff mile at Sandown, because the Sandown mile's like 9 furlongs anywhere else. You've got that big steep hill at the Esher track to come up, and I think it's going to suit Midnight Mile. I think she'll be lightly ridden close to the pace because she does have a bit of a turn of foot, and I think she could just try and grind it out from about 2 out, kick on, and try and get away from them. Odds of 6 to 1 with quite a number of firms betting each way. I think she is worth an interest, and they're betting 3 places, the firms here. And I think I'll be surprised if she doesn't make the frame, at least Midnight Mile. It is a tough race. It's a very interesting race, but I thought this was the one that appealed most for you at Sportsbet on Saturday. I'm going to be back to you same time next week, looking ahead to the Haydock Sprint Cup card and, of course, the Irish Champions weekend. Possibly have a couple of selections for you next weekend. Do think as well about joining us Out in Front via the link that is just below this screen. But for now, from me, Paul Alster, here at Sportsbet, I wish you the very best of luck this weekend, whatever you're backing. I look forward to speaking to you again same time next week. Bye-bye for now.